And then the third type, that's probably logical. This is an interesting one. Say that you have a business that needs a lot of local structure, like a logistics partner, things like that. How would you expand that? That's probably the hardest, right? Would you agree? Like, so in that point, because I've been in that situation with some things, like say if you want to make ozone.ru be active in Ukraine, would you select local logistics partners, or would you say we build it all up from the ground? I think we don't have time now to dig deep into that.
Yes, probably, but I think finishing the panel, I'd like to ask Vlad to maybe share a couple of insights from his story, because they're starting from local resources, going to international markets.
Right.
So what was the most important? What kind of people did you get? Where did you get those people?
Understood.
Yeah.
So I would probably continue that story we were just discussing about the resources, because it's kind of essentially nature of your question, how we were scaling and how we were building the company global. And that is the most, the hardest question. It's the most important to define. If you need to scale your business, you have a particular position which you'd like to fill out. Where are you going to get that guy? Are you going to get that guy in Ukraine or in North America or somewhere else, depending on the need? We were resolving this case by case, position by position. So for sure, the developers we are getting, they're pretty much equal in terms of their abilities in both, United States and here. But here they're much cheaper, like 5 times cheaper. So we would definitely build R&D facilities here in Ukraine. Though if we are talking about sales, clearly the answer is where you sell the product, you should have a sales guys. So we were looking for them in North America or in Western Europe. It's kind of easy questions to answer. The harder question is, let's talk about marketing, for example. One may say that it's not very hard to find a marketing girl in Ukraine. She can speak pretty much good English. She can do all the things from Ukraine, and it's 5 times cheaper than the marketing girl in the United States. Or you can get the girl in the United States and have a little bit different value. So these kind of questions were really hard for us to answer. After a lot of try and fail and tune, we ended up with the decision that all customer support, all customer success management, and then all marketing and all sales needs to be built at the market where you really sell. So we had support in Ukraine and in the United States. We ended up closing Ukrainian support, even though they were all good English speakers, etc., etc. Still, a little bit different culture, different time zone made it harder. People which were more expensive but were closer to our customers were more successful, and they gave us more value for the company. So it's all try and fail, and there are borders in some areas which are majority of, mainly it's support and marketing, where you need to define where you're going to get these guys. For us, the answer was where we sell, we need to have customer support management, customer success management. So that was our experience. I also would like to comment on topic Bas was raising. So those 3 categories, like first, second, and third, I would say that for the guys who are considering themselves in the first category, like I have a software, you have my website, you can go download and enjoy, I think they can still consider themselves and drag themselves into third category and be way more successful. Even if you have online software which is downloadable and usable, if you consider yourself global but local in every other country, and you build your office, you build your local support, your local representation, even being in first category, you find yourself way more successful selling your stuff as you are third category. That's my view on that.
Would you mean then that you sell actually software boxes that go by mail to the doorstep?
No, you sell downloadable software, but you have local phone numbers, you have local people, you have local office. So someone who bought it can call, can walk, can meet those guys at some of the events and learn about that software, not from Google searches, but at mixes, some drinks after the parties, etc., and then buy that software and then spread the word of mouth, and then how your business is building in that particular country.
Theoretically, you could solve all of that from a central point. You have a local call center number going to a central spot in another country, although the customer doesn't even know. You've got representatives traveling around doing a venue in each country a week or something.
You can.
So it depends, up
can.
to a certain volume. Probably
exactly.
That's better than having...
I'm not arguing that you cannot do this. I'm just saying that if you are consider yourself as a third category and have local representation, the speed of your scaling is way faster. Because you're local, people are meeting you, you're spreading the word,
Yeah.
you're building an ecosystem in that local office,
Yeah.
even though you're a global company. That's why Google has office here. I mean,
At a certain volume, then yeah.
well, they need to sell ads. It's
Yeah.
slightly different story,
I was
but
referring
anyway.
to the third category a bit as the really e-commerce kind of selling bottles or selling shoes.
I understand,
Then-
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe my case as well. So we started in Slovenia in 2000, which is a very small Central and Eastern European country. And what we understood in 2001, when we reached already 50% plus market share and proven the model, we understood that we could easily replicate this model in also countries that they haven't had already established online advertising market at all, and expand then to Croatia, Serbia, Macedonia, and Bosnia, in which we replicated this model and also won huge market share. But what was the limitation actually not to go to Austria and other markets and bigger markets from the beginning was actually the financial limitations we had, and also the other criteria to choose those markets compared to other markets that we could enter. And those criteria were familiarity with the markets. The other thing was synergies with these markets, because Slovenian companies were expanding or actually setting up operations in the former Yugoslavian markets, and so on, so on. So there are many criteria: saturation of the market, market development stage, and so on, which actually define where we should deploy or actually extend in the first stage. Then, in 2007, when we actually understood that we have very competitive technologies and solutions and could extend it further in Central and Eastern Europe, we were thinking how to actually do it. And the answer was always the same. It was when we came to a market, we wanted to build the position together with local teams, either top entrepreneurs, people from the industry, strategic partners that have access to budgets or inventory, for example, in our case. And we always try to understand what was viable, what's not. And we tested the market. We spent a week or two, talked to basically everybody, and figure out who should we work with. So this was like a very on-the-ground approach, case by case, and we always understand just one thing: we had to secure the long-term position on the market. So this was the criteria in entering or actually expanding. So in every case we thought about when to expand, in which markets to expand, how to expand. Usually it was based on partnership model, and the other thing was what we have to actually achieve before expanding. So in most of the countries where we entered, we had to establish a very competitive product before even considering entering. For example, we started operations in Austria, in Hong Kong, in Germany, and some other developed markets in which it's very hard to get from Central and Eastern Europe, because you don't have a very large base to finance all this expansion and growth. And also in terms of this expansion efforts, we try to figure out how to finance all this growth. Of course, you can finance it organically, partially, but then you have also to rely on external investments. We raised a bit of seed money. Then we also relied on banks and loans, and got some major loans from some investment banks as well. So you always have to think, how to prioritize markets. Even now, when we are perceived as a Central and Eastern European player, we are trying to assess broader emerging markets. So we're getting into Asia on one side. We have partners in the Middle East. We are now setting up Argentinian office. And for many investors, this would be overstretching ourselves. So but on the other side, when you're thinking about why you're getting into Asia, the answer is clear. The markets there, especially in those we enter, Southeast Asian or now India, are very similar to the Central and Eastern European markets in terms of market development, in terms of local offering, in terms of knowledge, in terms of also interest from major global developed partners, or let's say competitors, to enter that. So mostly we still manage to get in when it's still not saturated.
I'm sorry, but I think Denise will going to kill us if we not finish in 30 seconds. So again, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we probably need to finish this panel. I would like to thank Alesha, Vlad, and Bas. Guys, thank you so much. I hope our audience learned a lot about being global, and thank you very much.
Thank you.